Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Big Screen Show. I'm Alex.
I'm Wyatt. What's up, guys?
Yeah. And again, sorry to say, Victor is not here with us again. He is still not caught up. Unfortunate, but we're going to keep on rolling along, bringing you these
Yeah,
weekly episodes.
yeah, we're rooting for Vic. We're rooting for Vic to get caught up with the Bad Batch. Hopefully, he joins us later on in the season. But for y'all who don't know me, I'm Wyatt. I'm one of Victor's best friends. We went to high school together, and I built a friendship with Alex over the years. And really excited to be discussing the Bad Batch and the final season of the Bad Batch at that. With Alex. So I'll be here for the Bad Batch season. Hopefully, I'll be around for more Star Wars content and more just content that I love and know of. But let's get on with it. Let's get on with it. This was the Bad Batch season 3, episode 5. The title of this one was The Return, as we saw we saw Crosshair return to where he had some very pivotal moments in his life.
Oh, yeah. Because honestly, for this episode, it's pretty straightforward, but I wouldn't say call this like the weakest episode because honestly, this is actually a good turning point for what happened last episode, where the episode 4, literally ended where Omega and Crosshair met back up after being like gone for a long time, for a couple of months from Hunter and Wrecker. And again, we got that tense ending for it. Well,
Mm-hmm.
actually, so it finally comes to a head here for episode 5, where we finally get to see what everyone's like with Crosshair back on the ship. Everyone's all together.
Yeah, yeah, get to see the interactions of the Bad Batch together again, even though we're not fully together without Tech. And we still have the mysteries of if Tech is alive, if he is not. But this one was centered more around Crosshair and him and his interactions with Hunter, with Record, and with the rest of the squad, as he's been their enemy for the last 2 seasons. So yeah, it was really interesting. We started off with Crosshair practicing his shots, practicing his aim with I forgot the droid's name, but wasn't that Cad Bane's old robot, or was it a different robot? That's kind of what I was wondering.
No, I'm pretty sure that was. I'm sure that was supposed to be like the robot that was back from like the past 2 seasons because he originally had
Okay.
got the. Oh wait, actually, no wait, yeah, that's the same droid that was back from 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. So I was wondering that because I know Cad Bane has a similar droid. I don't know if he had the same voice or not. I'm gonna have to look into that and see if it's the same droid or not. Because they had a run in with Cad Bane in the first season.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think it might be the same droid that's still around. Which that's a cool little ode where Crosshair was practicing his shots with the droid at a 53% rate. So we see Crosshair, he's not at his fullest. He still has this thing where his hands are shaking. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's because of maybe experiments that they ran on him or possibly an ode to this episode, the freezing temperatures that he faced in the setting of the return on this ice island, ice planet, that caused him to have this shakiness where he can't snipe, where he can't shoot as well as he did any longer.
Yeah, I have a theory on that one. I feel like this one's gonna come full circle where like again it could be to all the times that he was in prison from in between the second and third season. But it
Hmm.
also has kind of do with like more like his guilt since the entire time from like season 1 and season 2 working for the Empire, he's mostly just kind of been like, a killer for the Empire with every shot. So I feel like it's gonna take a turn where he's gonna learn to get over it, where it's like psychosomatic with him trying to where he's trying to like redeem himself, and he's gonna finally take that important shot that matters, where it's probably gonna be where he has to save a member of his he has to save a member of his squad. Finally, like
Yeah,
showing that he's earned their trust back, and he's like solid for the team again.
man, that would be a really good moment to see. I definitely agree with that. I could see that happening where he has to make a he's like has a lot of pressure to make this shot. It's all on the line here, and he finally makes it, and he just like finally gets over this psychiatric thing that he has going on right now. So I like that theory. I really like that theory. We also see as he is practicing shooting, he's kind of teaching Omega about the important things that you have, important attributes that you have to being a sniper. And he says you always have to know when eyes are on you. And you see Wrecker and Hunter kind of spying on Crosshair, making sure that he's not dangerous to Omega or he's a detriment to the team, from the cliff overhanging him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, that just shows how things are still tense, but then right away, but then because like Omega is really like the one trying to like bring them all together, try to bridge the gap. She's kind of becoming like the kind of like the mediator between Crosshairs and the rest of them. Since she's been around him for like he's been around her enough to know that he's trying to change and trying to build in a little bit of trust.
Mm-hmm. She's kind of like the mom of the group this season,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. I mean, kind of, but
Kinda-
yeah, even more fitting since like she is technically older than the rest of them since she was the first, so it just kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
adds
yeah.
more depth to that.
She did mention that. That was kind of a joke
Yeah,
to Crosshair in this episode, where Crosshair was joking with her, saying because she wanted to go on the mission, and Crosshair was joking with her, saying, "Hey, you could probably do this, but you are still a kid." And Omega's like, "Well, I'm older. I'm technically older than all y'all, little brother."
yeah, that was funny because technically, yeah, that is true.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is true, man. So I thought that was some great comedy, great comedy with the show too. I love how they throw that in there. Um, but we get to the main plot of this episode, and they meet up with Echo and pretty much are trying to get Echo the most information possible about Mount Tantus and about the clones on Mount Tantus, and just all info Mount Tantus. What are the coordinates? What are the defenses like? What is the area around this place like? Who's in there? How many people are in there? They're trying to get all the answers so that they can go save their brothers, on Mount Tantus, because they have a lot of clones there.
Yeah,
They decide to discuss this on the island, Fat Mace Windu's island, and they're having a discussion there where pretty much Omega and Crosshair are coming clean and just telling them all the information that they have on Mount Tantus through their experiences there. Once they get done with that conversation, they get into trying to get into the data pad that Omega still has. Their problem is that they have to hook this data pad up to an imperial computer, pretty much an imperial system, and they're trying to figure out where to go to even do this, because it's a big risk pulling up to an imperial facility trying to get these codes. We've seen this in episodes of a lot of Star Wars shows. I remember the Mandalorian episode where they had to sneak onto the trucks and they had to get into the facility to get to that computer, and man, it was infested. Like that was a tough mission. Like the Bad Batch are not going to be able to do that very successfully. So Crosshair opens up and tells them about a secret facility that he knows about. Of course, they're very weary to trust them in going to this facility, but that's where they go. And we've seen this facility in a past episode. Why this episode is called The Return, we saw Crosshair make some very detriment and very big decisions on this planet. Do you want to kind of go into what we saw when Crosshair was here last?
Oh yeah. So the planet that they went to in the snowy area, Old Imperial base, that was actually back in season 2, which again was the episode that kind of like sealed Crosshair's fate of what side he was really on. Because this is the one episode, because that's season 2's last episode. Season 2's episode for where Crosshair was. It was literally the moment where he was literally facing like where the Imperials, where the Empire was really trying to transition all the clones, and basically never getting any support and treating all clone troopers as like worthless, useless tools that are going to be discarded, and because they literally had to prioritize the equipment that were belonging to the whole stormtrooper program, and basically showing how like the clones are worthless, and basically that was the moment when Crosshair decided to literally kill an Imperial officer, like literally gunned him down in front of like all other troopers and everything, and which is what led to him getting imprisoned in the first place. That was the moment where he truly turned on the Empire.
Yep, he truly saw what the Empire was about and truly saw that the Empire had nothing good for him and was just using him as a pawn, using him as a piece, and using him as a weapon. So that was a very big moment for Crosshair there, and it finally turned him against the Empire. And he went through this big time period where he was kind of not good and he was kind of not bad because he turned on the bad side and was really in that cell. I feel like he was really thinking about his past actions and thinking how he betrayed his brothers, how he betrayed all these people, how he killed all these innocents. And that's a tough feat to deal with, bro.
Oh yeah, that's a tough thing to forgive too. Because even when they arrive on that planet, even Crosshair is like he's not really want to really talk about or even share anything. And the thing is, Hunter is really picking up on that because again, he's been suspicious of Crosshair ever since he got back. So like he knows when he's holding something back and you're not saying anything, which is kind of hard since you're trying to earn your trust back on this group.
No, real talk. And we see them get into it. We see them get into it early in a little argument when they arrive to the planet. So just to bring y'all where we're at in the episode, they have that discussion on Fat Mace Windu's island, and they decide that they are going to go with Crosshair's plan, even though they are weary about it. They are skeptical about going to this planet and this facility that Crosshair has suggested. They go to it, and they actually bring Omega too, which they had thoughts of leaving her and Wrecker behind, but the whole crew decides to pull up to the ice planet. They arrive to the ice planet, and first thing we see when they arrive is the time that has been since Crosshair has last been there. We see the facility is pretty much under snow. They can't even get in the doors when they get there. So we see the time period that has been between here and the effects of this place being completely abandoned. They arrive there and Batcher hops out the whip. I kind of love Batcher. He's just a fun little dog character that they added to the show. And
but
this
he's so
man is
useful.
This man is useful, bro. He really helped them out this episode, but he hops out the whip sniffing. You know how dogs are when you first get to a new location, they're sniffing it out and stuff like that. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And gets annoyed by a dog whistle, yo. They got the dog whistle. They have the piece of equipment that's sending out a sound that's keeping something at bay. We don't know exactly what it's keeping at bay first. Crosshair believes it's the Raiders. So that is a mystery. What this is keeping at bay. They don't really worry about it. They go ahead and head into the facility where Batcher helps them dig the snow out to actually even get into this facility. They hop into the facility, and they're able to use the Imperial systems, but they need to reroute all the power to the facility that they're in and the computer that they're using. So boom, they do that. They reroute all the power to where they're at, but that turns the dog whistle off outside, and whatever's out there is free to come in.
Yeah.
So
we got like another monster of the season, you could say right there.
Yeah. You want to reveal what the monster was?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I forgot what type of monster that was. What does it say on what it's described as? Because this thing is like a huge, big, like snow white rhino type snow monster.
Man, I think it's an ice worm. Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Because I think it's because I went to go see Dune Part Two. I'm just thinking like you thinking back to like Dune Part Two with like the sandworms, but it's like
Yeah.
the snow worm.
This is the snow worm, bro. I didn't even think about that. We have the sandworms in Dune, and now we have the snow worms
Yeah.
pulling up in the Bad Batch. There's no. These worms can conquer any environment. The snow, the sand, they in the jungle, they everywhere.
Yeah, you can't get away from them nowhere.
Yeah.
But but yeah, this leads to the group to have to change up their tactics, where they're gonna have to try and reset the sensors while rerouting the power. But again, this is probably like the most pivotal moments where like Crosshair and Hunter kind of have this whole confrontation where it's like Crosshair finally reveals the reason why he was in prison. Because again, he was never really answering any questions or giving any answers during the whole entire time he's been back, but it finally comes to a head. And again, Crosshair finally admits to Hunter that he killed an Imperial officer, and like again, he betrayed the Empire and thought he was doing the right thing. But again, instead of just waiting for Hunter to try and process everything, and because again Hunter was being aggressive there, Crosshair was also trying to confront Hunter there about like the only reason like again he's really mad is because like he wasn't the one that saved Omega. Omega had to save herself and to help him, and they had to travel around together to get where they need to be. So it's really he's also calling Hunter on his failure for never listening and just for laying like the only reason Omega's been in this situation is because you weren't there because you were a terrible leader.
Man, real talk. And they start that mission out with some tension with
Mm-hmm.
that conversation that they had because like you said, Crosshair admits that he killed the Imperial officer right before they take off to distract or get this worm out of the area so they can turn the dog whistle back on to keep it out. So they start this mission off with some tension together, and they're the duo that's supposed to be leading this worm out. So I thought that was much needed, and Crosshair does have a very relevant point where Hunter might be holding something against Crosshair for saving Omega rather than him finding and saving Omega, being the hero and being the leader that he wants to be.
Yeah, so they're definitely So he's not entirely wrong, but again, that's something they're both trying to come to terms with. Again, they're just trying to hurt each other just to hurt each other. But again, is they're not invalid.
Yeah. They're not invalid, and it's good. This is good. This is what we needed. What we needed from this episode. We need to see this tension. I'm glad they didn't just make everything happy-go-lucky when he came back. We need to see this tension. Like, this is how homies are. This is how friends are. Like, if one of my homies does something that betrays my trust, like, we definitely gonna have to have a conversation about this, and we definitely gonna have to have a period of time where this trust is built back if this happens. So I'm glad that we're able to see this with the Bad Batch.
Yeah, I even think even Wrecker has a little bit of kind of growth in there because again, he hasn't forgiven Crosshairs, but he's also kind of been like probably the more sentimental type too. Because even after all this time, after Hunter leaving, he still kept Crosshair's gear even after he left. So I guess it shows that he still probably believed maybe one day he was probably going to come back. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
not full on hope, but you know. So I think it kind of shows that Wrecker still kind of sees that there's still a bond there, and maybe there's still a good chance to salvage this after already losing Tech.
And Wrecker actually says something early in the episode when him and Hunter are having a conversation when they're spying on Crosshair and Omega, and pretty much Hunter or Wrecker says, "If Omega trusts Crosshair, I trust Crosshair." So kind of putting his trust in Omega that if Omega believes Crosshair has really turned back to the light side and is really our brother again and is really back to the Crosshair that they loved and knew, then I'm going to accept that and I'm going to believe Omega's instincts and give Crosshair a second chance.
So yeah, I say Wrecker was probably like doing like the most mature on that part. Where
Yeah.
for Hunter, it took some time because again, he's the leader and he doesn't want to make a compromising situation as he's had to do before.
Yeah, real talk, man. So I with Wrecker on forgiving Crosshair, but I'm also with Hunter with having some caution here with trusting Crosshair. As we go through the episode, or as we get back to the episode, Crosshair and Hunter are on the mission. Pretty much the mission is that they have to get the worm out of the area so that they can turn the dog whistle or the device that's keeping him out, the worm out, back on. If they turned it on now, he would be stuck in the perimeter with them, so they have to lure the worm out to turn it on. They lure the worm, they're on their mission to lure the worm out, and as they are, this man Hunter falls through the ice.
That was really unexpected, and especially this like because again, while him and Crosshair were together, I'm pretty sure he was also trying to keep an eye on it because like working work as a 2-man team. But I think this also kind of shows like a good pivotal point to where Hunter literally has to learn and put his trust in Crosshair to help him out and to finish the mission.
Yes, he has to put his trust in Crosshair when he doesn't want to. When he wouldn't. If he was up on the ice, he wouldn't be putting his trust in Crosshair. But he's thrown into a situation where he has to trust Crosshair to live. So, as he falls through the ice has he can't get back up. There's no way that they can pull him back up. It's a little too deep. So, pretty much Hunter has to get outside of the perimeter through the ice. Luckily, there is a tunnel down there that looks like the worm has dug before, or it might just be just tunnels down there where the ice has some gaps in it. So he proceeds down the tunnel while Crosshair continues to lure the worm out of the perimeter. Crosshair starts firing some rounds at the worm, trying to get it to follow, and makes this worm pissed off. The worm chases him, and the worm eventually gets out of the perimeter. And I'm trying to remember the exact scenario of what happened at the end there. I know the worm got out of the perimeter, and then he was kind of coming. Oh, shoot. The worm was coming for Hunter in the bottom of it, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was. So they had to find a way to get him out while they were still trying to get him out from the sensors area.
Yeah. You're right. So the worm went under and was coming through the same tunnel that Hunter was in, and that's when Hunter had to trust Crosshair to pull him up from dying from the worm. Yeah.
But
This man that you just had an argument with, bro, has to pull you up from this worm. He could have easily let Hunter die, and he could have easily had all the pressure that's on Crosshair about returning to the group just gone. Like that, all the pressure could have been gone. Crosshair could have been scotch-free on all his past transgressions, but he does the right thing. He throws his rifle down there to help Hunter up, helps Hunter up. As Hunter is helped up, the worm comes outside of the perimeter, and they are able to radio in, and they are able to turn the dog whistle back on. Is there anything I'm missing from that sequence, Alex?
No, actually, you got it. That's what that happened.
All right, cool. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing any details. It was pretty straightforward at the end of the episode. We get to see Crosshair earn Hunter's trust the hard way in the moment. Kind of what Hunter was not giving him. He wasn't trusting him. So this is a very big moment for Crosshair to earn that trust back with Hunter. They obviously get the worm outside of the perimeter, and they obviously get ready to dip off. And that's kind of end of episode there, besides a final conversation between Crosshair and Hunter at the end before they hop on the ship. Before we get to that conversation, I just want to make sure that we're not missing anything from the episode. One other big moment in the episode was when Hunter was spying on Crosshair. There's a lot of spying. Hunter's spying on Crosshair a lot. There was a moment when they first got into the facility and they were first looking around that Hunter was spying on Crosshair, and Hunter saw Crosshair putting the stormtrooper helmets, picking them off the ground, or not the stormtrooper helmets, the clone trooper helmets. He was picking them up and kind of setting them back up, getting them off the ground, and it just showed Hunter that Crosshair still loves his brothers. He still has respect for his fallen brothers, and just not even fallen, just brothers in general, in the clones. But that was a big moment. Just reiterating that, hey, Crosshair has changed. There is some change in him. We wouldn't have seen the past Crosshair doing stuff like this.
Yeah, he definitely was. Yeah, he definitely chose to be more sympathetic and probably learned to be a little more empathetic. Maybe just a little bit, or he's going off of what he learned from back in season 2 by that one clone trooper that he was with in the mountains that apparently had died, who basically had shown him that all the helmets up there was always for his fallen brothers.
Man, real nice piece right there. I forgot about him journeying with Homie in the last time he was on this ice planet. But that pretty much gets us to the end of the episode where Crosshair and Hunter have another moment. This was a Crosshair and Hunter episode. It really,
Yeah,
they were both tested with each other on this episode, and Crosshair comes clean, man. He comes clean and he tells him like, "Yo, I thought I was just being a good soldier when I was doing this for the Empire. I thought I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. I thought I was doing good." Hunter explains that nobody knew what was going on at the time. A lot of their brothers didn't know what was going on at the time. And it wasn't the clone's fault. It wasn't Crosshair's fault that he had these issues. It was the Emperor and Order 66 and the implantation of the chip that changed all these clones' minds and changed all these clones' motives. They had to be good soldiers at that point. So Hunter says, "Hey, none of us knew what was going on then," and we kind of get like a little moment of forgiveness, a little moment of sympathy there at the end.
yeah, correct. Even Crosshair even admitted that he didn't make mistakes. I mean, even especially after he had chosen to continue on, he admitted that. And again, like I said, Crosshair basically said that, yeah, no one really knew what was happening back during that time. So the only thing that we can really do is just try to be better. So I think this is actually a good establishment for them to like earn it finally, for Crosshair to earn that trust back and to probably find some redemption along the way by going off to finish this mission to save all the imprisoned troopers.
Man, I can see something at the end where Crosshair might sacrifice himself to save the masses, to save his squad. Don't you? Yeah, I kind of see that redemption arc where he gives his life for the rest of the squad.
Yeah, I could definitely see him doing it as probably a thing to make up for all that he did. But again, that could also be made for the way for when he takes that like really important shot to get over his like handshaking for when he has to finally shoot that rifle.
Yeah.
So anyway, so any of those situations could really work out well because I feel like that's something that could definitely is probably could happen between either at the very last episode or the second to last. Because I feel like the last episode might be close to an hour long.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too. Me
I hope
too.
so.
Yeah, I'm begging for that.
Yeah. What I am happy about with the Bad Batch, they do have long seasons.
Yeah, I
So
think
we
it's
know
supposed to be.
this is not going to be 7 episodes or 8 episodes like some other shows that they come out with. I think the count is 16.
No, I heard there's supposed to be only 8 episodes for this season. It's supposed to be like the final season.
What? I
Yeah,
don't know. We're on episode 5. There can't be 3 episodes left.
yeah. I don't know. I might have to look that up and
Yeah.
talk about it for the next episode just to be sure.
Yeah, we'll have the answers for you on the episode count next episode. But I loved how they ended this one. I love the message that they ended with, bro. And it is almost the message. We all make mistakes. We're all going to do things that are wrong. We're all going to make mistakes. But the only thing that we can do is to learn from them and to get better and to try to not make the same mistakes again. I thought it was one of the best messages Star Wars has had in a while.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah,
there
that
have been plenty of
no
good
matter what you
messages.
do, no matter what you do, it's not over. Anybody can be redeemed.
Powerful messages, man. Powerful messages.
Yeah, I love the message that they ended with, but I think that brings us to an end with this Bad Batch season 3, episode 5 recap and reaction. It was great chatting with you. Alex, we'll be back on here. We're a little late. We've been a little late doing these videos, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I've been on vacation. We got off to a late start with the 3-episode premiere, but hopefully from now on, we are going to have this episode uploaded Thursday after the Wednesday episode. That's our goal going
Mm-hmm. Yep.
forward, and we're going to get these episodes to you a lot quicker. But it's Monday. We got a new episode in 2 days. We don't even got to wait a whole week. So we'll be with y'all very soon. It was great having y'all with us.
Yeah,
Comment some of your theories. Big theory is Crosshair's redemption, and another big theory is what is Tech alive? What's Tech on? So comment some of your big theories for the Bad Batch. Like I said, I'm Wyatt.
Yeah, I'm out. And remember to like and subscribe, folks.
Yes, like, subscribe, comment. This is the Big Screen Show. Thank you for having me, guys. Thank you, Victor, for having me. Thank you, Alex, for having me. Y'all stay blessed. Peace out. And may the Force be with you.
With you.